Okay, guys, so remember that we are trying to look for information on answering the question, should SeaWorld keep ocean animals? And we are going to do that by analyzing the text, and we're going to look at the author's argument. So we're going to use this graphic organizer where it has the topic, and then we're going to decide if the author is supporting or refuting, which means going against the topic. And then on the left side, there is the claims, and on the right side, it's the evidence that supports the claim. So if you think back to our first lesson on taking notes, we had the main idea on the left, and then we had the details that supported it on the right. So this organizer is similar to that. You want to think of the claim as the main idea, or like what the author is trying to prove. So the claims are usually the author's opinion, and reminder that opinions are personal and cannot be proven true. But then the author will back up those claims with evidence, and the evidence is where the author is going to include all of the facts that are the pieces that can actually be proven true, and that's a way for you to be able to use the information to make your own decision. So as we read, just a reminder to think about who the author's intended audience is, and then find evidence that supports the author's thinking. So you want to remember to look for the facts that back up the author's claim, and try your best not to be influenced by the author's opinion. So sometimes you are in an argumentative text, you're going to read something that you feel strongly for or against. But when you are analyzing an argumentative text, you have to be really careful that you don't get swayed by the author's opinion in the beginning, because that's going to affect your ability to analyze the text. All right, so let's get started. This is a nonfiction text, and it's written by an animal trainer on the topic of animals in SeaWorld. So follow along with me while I read it to you. Animal trainer. There are numerous benefits of keeping ocean animals in captivity at SeaWorld. First of all, having many visitors each year brings awareness to these animals. Many people may never see a penguin, dolphin, whale, or sea lion in the wild, but in one visit to SeaWorld, adults and children alike are exposed to these wonderful animals. Also, the animals at SeaWorld are treated like royalty. They are loved, fed, and taken care of on a daily basis. Whereas in the wild, many of these animals die because lack of food or enemies. Last but not least, SeaWorld is the largest organization in the world that takes care of injured ocean animals. SeaWorld will not deny any animal treatment. The amazing doctors work hard to heal any animal brought in with the ultimate goal of returning the animals to the wild. As you can see, there are many reasons that SeaWorld should keep ocean animals in their parks. So now we're going to use our organizer to analyze this author's argument. So let's start up at the top, and the topic is ocean animals in captivity at SeaWorld. And this author is supporting the claim because right away, the author says that there's numerous benefits of keeping ocean animals in captivity. Okay, so that sounds like a positive. So this author thinks that we should definitely keep them there. And now I'm going to look for the claims and the evidence. So the first claim, it says in the text, having many visitors each year brings awareness to these animals. So the author's claim is that visitors bring awareness to the animals. And the evidence that this author uses to support that is that they say many people are only exposed to the animals through visits to SeaWorld. So basically, a lot of people would never see dolphins, whales, or sea animals in the wild. And it's a good way to bring awareness to the animals by keeping them at SeaWorld. Claim number 2, the author says that the animals at SeaWorld are treated like royalty. So remember when I said that the claims are often opinion-based? That sounds like an opinion, right? The animals are treated like royalty. But this author is claiming that the animals are treated well. The evidence that the author uses to back that up is that the animals are taken care of at SeaWorld, whereas in the wild, a lot of them end up dying from enemies or lack of food. And then claim number 3, SeaWorld is the largest organization in the world that takes care of injured ocean animals. So that doesn't sound that much like an opinion. but it's still a claim. So SeaWorld takes care of injured animals. And the evidence that the author uses is that the doctors treat all animals with the ultimate goal being to return them to the wild. So now that I have all of my claims and evidence, I can sum up this author's conclusion. And the conclusion is that SeaWorld should keep ocean animals in their parks. Okay, so now what we are going to do is actually look at this from another point of view. Okay, so let's look at the same topic being argued by an animal rights activist. So as you might imagine, it's going to be a little bit different. Follow along with me while I read this text to you. Animal rights activist. As an animal activist, I speak up for animals who do not have a voice. It is my opinion that ocean animals thrive in the wild and do not enjoy their lives in captivity. To begin, the animals are kept in small tanks and cages. In contrast, in the wild, they have vast open oceans and land. These animals are not happy in an enclosed environment. In fact, all of SeaWorld's orca whales have collapsed dorsal fins because they have no room to swim freely. In the wild, orcas' fins stand straight unless they are ill. Also, injuries to the animals and humans who work with the animals happen frequently. These ocean animals are not meant for human interactions, which are forced upon them daily at SeaWorld. Many injuries to the orcas happen out of frustration after having to perform tricks over and over. There's no doubt that these ocean animals would benefit more from living in their natural environment. So let's use our organizer to analyze this text. The topic is the same. The topic is ocean animals in captivity at SeaWorld, and this author is refuting the topic. Right away, the author says that ocean animals thrive in the wild and do not enjoy their lives in captivity. Now let's start to pull out the claims. So this author's first claim is that the animals are not happy in an enclosed environment. This claim is opinion-based because there's no really way to know that animals are not happy in enclosed environments, but the author backs it up with the evidence that they are kept in small cages and tanks instead of swimming freely in the ocean. That is a fact. And let's go on to see what else they say to prove that animals are not happy. So the next thing that the author says is that the SeaWorld's orca whales have collapsed dorsal fins because they have no room to swim freely. So I shorten that to the animals do not have enough space. Again, that is kind of opinion-based, but the author backs this up with saying that the orca whales all have collapsed dorsal fins, which usually only happens if they're sick. So that is a definite fact. Claim number 3, ocean animals are not meant for human interactions. So that seems like an opinion, but then the evidence that the author uses to support this claim is factual, and the author says that injuries occur frequently due to frustration from performing tricks over and over. So the animals get fatigued and they sort of lash out at whoever is training them. So now we can put the author's ultimate conclusion, and this author's conclusion is that ocean animals are better off in their natural environment. Okay, so now that you have seen how to analyze the actual writing, we're going to look at the author's point of view, and you'll do that in the next video. So stay tuned, and I'll see you soon.